In a world that is increasingly unstable, divided, and filled with uncertainty, the Virgin Mary's message in Medjugorje shines as a beacon of hope and urgency, calling for deep spiritual preparation and transformation. Delivered at a time when fear and confusion grip the hearts of many, Mary's words are not just a call but a divine summons to all her children, those who are close to the faith and those who have wandered far from it, to return to God with renewed hearts and spirits. Her message is crystal clear. We must rise above the distractions and chaos of everyday life and commit ourselves to profound spiritual growth. This divine call to conversion is not a mere suggestion. It is a life-changing directive. The Virgin Mary appeals to everyone, whether firmly rooted in faith or distant from it, to reorient their lives toward Christ. The urgency of this message cannot be overstated. It urges us to act swiftly and with conviction, for the times ahead will challenge us in ways we cannot yet fully comprehend. But this call is not just about surviving difficult times, it is about fortifying our souls. Spiritual preparation is crucial, not simply for the physical hardships that may come, but for the tests of faith that will challenge the very essence of who we are. Only those whose hearts are anchored in a firm foundation of prayer and devotion will have the strength to endure these trials, which will impact both body and spirit. Mary emphasizes that it is prayer, especially the Rosary, that serves as our greatest defense. The Rosary, according to Mary, is not merely a collection of prayers spoken in succession. It is a transformative spiritual weapon that invokes divine protection, brings us closer to God, and guides us through darkness. Each Ave Maria is not just a prayer, but a grace-filled moment that strengthens our souls and helps us navigate the uncertainties of life. It is an invitation to experience peace amid chaos, to receive God's protection, and to transform our hearts into vessels of love and devotion. But even more than prayer, the Virgin Mary calls for a genuine spiritual conversion that begins deep within us. True conversion is not about outward appearances or mere rituals. It is about a profound internal change that alters the very core of who we are. Mary's message serves as a reminder that this internal transformation is the key to facing the trials ahead, which will test not only our physical endurance, but the strength of our faith. Mary urges us to embrace this inward conversion with urgency, for it is the only way to stand strong against the trials that will come. These challenges will not only affect us individually, but will impact the entire world. Through prayer and conversion, we are called to become instruments of change, not just in our own lives, but in the world around us. Mary's message is a call to action, inviting us to work together, united in prayer and in faith, to create a more compassionate, loving, and faithful world. In the face of these uncertain and challenging times, we must take Mary's words to heart. Spiritual preparation is not a luxury. It is a necessity for the difficult days ahead. Through prayer, especially the Rosary, and through genuine spiritual conversion, we can find the strength to endure and overcome whatever may come. Let us embrace this divine call to conversion and allow it to transform us, so that we may stand firm in faith, ready to face the challenges of the future with courage, peace, and unwavering trust in God's love. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope that you feel inspired by Mary's powerful message of hope and transformation. Let us all commit to deepening our faith and prayer life, preparing ourselves spiritually for whatever challenges may come. May the grace of Christ guide you in all things. Don't forget to subscribe and stay updated with more messages of faith, hope, and love. In her prophecies, the Virgin Mary foretells a time of profound trial and tribulation that will touch nations across the globe, including Mexico, Colombia, Spain, and Venezuela. The challenges these nations face will test their resilience not only physically but also, and perhaps more importantly, spiritually. While natural disasters and internal conflicts will take their toll, the true battle, according to Mary, lies within the spiritual realm. She warns that alongside these physical calamities, the world will experience a profound spiritual crisis that calls for a widespread religious awakening. This crisis, she says, will deceive many and put the very foundations of society's moral fabric to the test. Amidst the chaos, only those who place their trust in Christ will find the strength to overcome what lies ahead. Mary stresses that Christ is the sole source of true protection and power, and in a world growing increasingly divided, filled with anger and indifference, it is more important than ever for the faithful to be agents of love and peace. Through acts of kindness, compassion, and solidarity, believers are called to spread the light of Christ in a world darkened by sin and division. Mary's prophecies paint vivid images of flaming skies, symbols of the spiritual darkness that will engulf the earth in the coming times. These signs are not just warnings of physical destruction, but urgent calls to awaken spiritually. Despite the weight of these visions, Mary implores the faithful to remain strong, not succumbing to fear or despair. Instead, she encourages them to hold firm in their faith, knowing that God's protection is always available to those who seek it. One of the central figures in this spiritual battle is Saint Michael the Archangel, whom Mary highlights as a vital protector during these trying times. As the leader of the heavenly hosts, Saint Michael's role is not just symbolic. He is a powerful intercessor and defender against the forces of evil. Mary urges believers to actively call upon his protection, especially as the fight against the forces of darkness intensifies. This struggle, she reveals, involves not just the physical challenges, but also the emergence of the Antichrist, widespread apostasy, and a rejection of divine truth. In a time when moral relativism and confusion about truth seem to prevail, Mary calls for vigilance. She stresses that the faithful must remain steadfast, resisting the temptations and deceptions that will arise from the forces of evil. The most powerful weapon in this fight is prayer, especially the rosary, which will provide spiritual fortification against these dangers. Despite the gravity of her warnings, Mary's message is ultimately one of hope. She reassures the faithful that God will never abandon his people, no matter how dark the times may seem. Those who dedicate themselves to the Sacred Heart of Jesus and her Immaculate Heart will be shielded from harm and guided through the trials ahead, emerging victorious in the end. In her message, the Virgin Mary reminds us of a fundamental truth. No matter how powerful the forces of evil may appear, the light of faith will always triumph. The dark times that we are heading into are not the end of the story. They are, in fact, an opportunity, an invitation for spiritual renewal and cleansing. Mary calls on all her children to see the adversities ahead not as signs of defeat, but as divine moments for transformation. These challenges, though daunting, offer a unique chance to purify our hearts, strengthen our faith, and participate in God's ultimate victory over evil. One of the central pillars of Mary's message is the urgent call to pray in unity. The Rosary, she stresses, is an incredibly powerful spiritual tool that can protect us from the dangers of the world and elevate our personal relationship with God. Through the Rosary, we are invited to invite divine favor not only upon ourselves, but also on our communities and the world. Mary promises that this humble prayer has the divine capacity to turn the tide, even in the most desperate of situations. It is a beacon of hope and an armor for the soul in times of trial. By praying the Rosary daily, we strengthen our bond with God and invoke the power of heaven to shield us from evil's grip. Beyond personal transformation, Mary urges us to take active steps in our faith. In a world increasingly divided by hatred, animosity, and indifference, Christians are called not just to profess their faith, but to embody it in every action. It is not enough to declare ourselves believers. True faith is expressed in acts of kindness, compassion, and charity. In times of suffering, these actions become even more profound. Mary encourages us to reach out to those in need, both materially and spiritually. By offering a helping hand and sharing the love of Christ, we become vessels of God's grace, transforming the world with the light of his love. Mary's message is not only a warning, but also a promise. It is an appeal for deep introspection, spiritual readiness, and unwavering trust in God as we face unprecedented challenges. While the future may seem uncertain and filled with darkness, Mary assures us that we are never alone. Through prayer, especially the Rosary, and a steadfast commitment to our faith, we are empowered to confront the struggles that lie ahead. Mary reassures us that while the forces of evil may rise, they will not have the final say. God, in his mercy and goodness, is the ultimate victor, and those who place their trust in him will share in his victory. Now more than ever, we are called to renew our faith, purify our souls, and unite in prayer. As we prepare for the coming trials, we must fortify ourselves spiritually and mentally. Only by deepening our connection with God and committing ourselves to his love and truth can we endure the darkness ahead. And when we emerge, we will be stronger, our faith tested and refined, our hearts more attuned to his will. Thank you for taking part in this journey of faith. Your presence adds strength to our collective pursuit of spiritual truth and guidance. Until then, may you find peace and inspiration in the eternal message of hope that Mary offers to us all.